Hi, I'm Adam Geary for Unit-e Technologies, here to show you what the Luxehedron can do and how you can do things with it. And this is our very first prototype. We've been calling it Dodecatron, various other things, but I think we've settled on the name Luxehedron. That'll allow us to have more than just dodecahedral shapes and call them by the same name. Yes, so you see we've got two speakers built in now. There's a car audio amplifier in there, so it'll do stereo input and pump that out there. We've got a little console on the back. We'll talk about this in another video, what's inside there, but basically we've got our volume adjustment, audio in, a USB power for charging a cell phone or what have you, and it's actually also plugged directly into the computer, so we might add peripherals later, we'll see what happens. And then we've got our button for changing things. Let's plug it into power, and right off the bat it goes into a test pattern. That's actually programmed into each of the LED strips, even if the computer was totally disconnected, and as soon as it's plugged in, it just does that. Now, eventually the PC will connect. It's about 30 seconds after it boots and goes through all of its starts and check sequences, and there will be sort of a flicker and a shutter as this suddenly comes under the computer control, and it will resume the same pattern, actually, just under better synchronization. And I will show you how we'll deal with the audio once that's up and running. I'm watching for it. I might have missed it already. Oh, there it was. You might have caught that as it shuttered and took over. Now it's doing the same thing, but it is properly synchronized now. I really like this pattern. That's why we started it, have it as the startup pattern. And I believe there are 17 patterns in here by default. I might have said more before, but apparently we culled some of them, pulled them out because they were just repeats of the same pattern, just with subtle changes or reverse direction. They can be toggled through with this. If you hit it once from the start, it goes directly into color chord. That's the music mode. And then if you hit it again, it'll cycle through other things. But let's go on about the music right now. So you'll need a male-to-male headphone cable, and we'll plug in here and to some device. I've got my cell phone here, and there's a few different things you can do to adjust the volume and the brightness of it, and I'll show you that in just a moment. I don't know why my phone does that, but not everything does. My phone, I think it's trying to figure out what the heck it's plugged into, and so it pulses it for a while. But so, there we go. So it's a little bit quiet. You can turn up the amplification here. And you can also turn it up on your phone, which will make it actually brighter, because then the computer itself will be seeing it as being louder. So let's do that. And maybe that's too loud, or maybe it's too bright rather. So I'll turn it down on my phone and you'll see that now there's less LEDs illuminated. So that's one way you can tinker with it to have it be the brightness that you want. If you want it to be fully lit up and shifting, you can just crank it on your phone and turn it down over here. And if you want it to be really loud over here, but not super bright, you can turn it down on your phone and turn it up over here. That's as loud as that's going to go, though, because it'll only amplify so much. But I find that having the phone right around the middle, a little bit above the middle of its volume setting, is usually best. There. So when the song is loud, it'll be solid. When the song is soft, it'll be soft looking. And the audio is actually independent of the light. So you don't have to leave it on color chord to have music playing. You can leave the music playing, as we will now, and hit the button to start changing into different modes. This is mode 3 here. It's just a single pixel wandering around inside that. I like the sparkly look of it. I want to do more things with this in the future, make it look more like a star field if I can. Here we've got a nice rainbow, a much tighter rainbow than that initial test pattern. I really like this and I don't know what to call it. It's one of my favorite ones. Then we've just got lights wandering around, large chunks of light moving around in there, different colors. Another one I don't know what to call. Pretty cool looking. Shifting colors with the brightness shifting as it goes around. Celebration for inducing seizures. This one's very subtle. If you look at the lights for a while, you'll see, oh, they are actually shifting. Yep. More wandering colored lights. I like this. This is similar to the other one, but I forget how it's different. Charles tinkered with this one quite a bit. I think this was designed for our Unit-e logo sign, actually. But it looks pretty cool in here. And we've got a water pattern. There, it's mostly white and blue with subtle ripples shifting. This one shifts all the colors at the same time. It'll slowly shift through the whole rainbow of what they can do. Where you'll be able to note the exquisite oranges that these LEDs can produce, because they actually have an amber chip on them. So they're RGB-A instead of the usual RGB only. And then we've got our sparkles, which you may have seen at IAAPA. This is one of the few that were designed specifically for this kind of thing. We want to add more custom animations in the future, but these are among the few. That and not that one. It's another rapid rainbow. And this one, it's actually, I designed this as a test for this initially, where it has all of the geometry taken account of and it shifts a light down slowly. So you'll notice that blue band is sinking all around at the same time. I want to do more things like this, but it's going to take a lot more time. There's a lot of custom work that goes into making an animation fit a dodecahedron like this. And I think with that, we're back to the test pattern, and that's all that there are on there. Obviously, you don't have to have the music connected. You can just run it right off the bat and cycle through the animations. If it's connected to the internet, we can potentially remote into it and push updates in the future. Something I want to do. And that's about it. For shutting down, just pull the plug and you're done. Assembling the Luxehedron before use. And this is our very first model. This might change, but it's going to come in a couple pieces. There's going to be the base and the top. And the top comes with what is actually the top of this pedestal attached to it. It's firmly screwed into the pedestal. The power supply is screwed into that, so you don't have to worry about any of the real crazy wiring. That's all in the top. But when you get these, you'll have to piece them together. And so you'll see at the bottom of this piece, there's going to be 4 little metal pegs. Those need to be fitted into holes around the top of the pedestal. And there's actually only one way it goes. How best to depict that? If you look inside here, you'll see the power supply, and its wires are going to be coming out on the left. That's how you want to do it. And the main reason for this is I had to drill some holes in things in order for the wires that come out of the top to fit through. So you just need to make sure so that the wires coming out of the power supply are on the left-hand side. All right, so once you get that done, you need to get in there with a flat blade screwdriver and turn 4 screws. I don't know what to call them actually. You can see one in the back there. That's actually not one you're going to do. That holds the side on. You want the ones that are here, here, and on the same opposite sides in the back. The hardest one's going to be the one that's up in here, but you can get to it. I got my finger on it now up in there. But you just have to get a flat blade screwdriver in there and give them a half turn. I might put tape over them to make sure that they don't fall out in transit, because those things, no, they'll be fine. They're pretty tight in there. If you've ever assembled IKEA furniture before, it's literally that same kind of thing. So once you've got that done, that will securely hold the top on. Then you want to take the panel, which is what connects in the back here. This has the PC, it's a Raspberry Pi that we have a proprietary controller on, and then we have another little breakout breadboard where it adjusts where it ramps up the power to really run all 540 LEDs there. There is an audio card, which is what's actually taking the input from your phone when you play music to it, and then a whole mass of the audio cables that I had from arcade machine projects to connect it to the amplifier, which is in here. So I think there's 4 things you need to connect. This little guy here, this 3-pin thing, is the connector for the LEDs themselves. Let me hook this on here, that'll be a little bit easier. There we go. So this guy connects the LEDs, and there's only one way that goes. You can just let that dangle down there, it's zip tied in. This is what connects us to the internet. So if you do end up connecting the Ethernet port to the internet, this will take that signal right into the Raspberry Pi. Get that right in there, make sure it clicks. This is power for the Raspberry Pi. We tried powering it through the same thing, and it had some problems. So we have a separate power supply for that now. And then last but not least is going to be your audio. We got your right and left. Right is closest to us. You'll see they go right there. Make sure they're both firmly in there, and you'll also notice this little guy here is another volume adjustment. If you feel you need to adjust it up and down more than what I've provided by other means, that is your means of accessing that, but it should be set right now. And with that, make sure all your cables are tucked in and not caught. You might get cables along here or here pinching when you try to close this, so just make sure those are in. And then that should lock. And that is the assembly of the dodecatron. There's not much else to it. We'll have another video about how to do things with it.